You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. The LSU regular season has come to a close. Tigers are 9-3. They'll have a chance to polish off back-to-back double-digit win seasons if they can win a bowl game. Big question now is, in what bowl game will they play and what players will they have available? Everybody's kind of keeping an eye on bowl projections, and there's a general consensus here that LSU is going to end up in the ReliaQuest. The ReliaQuest is the former Outback Bowl, so it's the Tampa game that's played at 11 a.m. Central on New Year's Day. I'm just scrolling through this, and hat tip to I'm just looking at who aggregated this. This was LSU Tiger Wire that aggregated this, so I'll just run through this quickly. USA Today has LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Clemson. ESPN has LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Wisconsin. One writer has LSU against Wisconsin. The other has LSU against Notre Dame. CBS Sports has LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl against NC State. 247 Sports has LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Notre Dame. The Action Network has LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Notre Dame. Fox Sports has LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl against Notre Dame. Getting a trend here. Athlon, ReliaQuest Bowl against Notre Dame. That is a dream matchup scenario for the bowl organizers and the TV networks. I don't know that for LSU or Notre Dame that makes sense at all. But for bowl games that are becoming increasingly less attended, if your objective is to sell tickets, well, Notre Dame's a national brand, obviously, and they have fans everywhere. And so not only will they travel, because South Bend sucks generally, but South Bend really sucks in January, in the winter. So will people go from South Bend or from wherever they may live to Tampa? Yes. Will you draw a bigger crowd with Notre Dame LSU as opposed to Notre Dame NC or LSU NC State? Yes. LSU Clemson is appealing, to be sure. That'd be a rematch of the championship game from 4 years ago. And you have two popular brands, but you have two programs there that are not going to be excited to be playing in that game. So you may not draw the actual attendance that you'd hope, but the TV number of LSU Clemson would be an appealing matchup. But let's just be very clear. If the schedule makers have the opportunity to pair LSU and Notre Dame to pit Brian Kelly against his former school, they're 100% going to do it. And it's very likely that they're going to have that opportunity. The only thing that could throw a wrench into that is if both Ole Miss and Missouri end up in a New Year's Six, which could happen. Depending on what happens in championship weekend, if there are upsets, how the dominoes may fall. But it's important to remember the way that the selection goes for the SEC is you've got the committee that will select the playoff and then the New Year's Six. After the New Year's Six, the highest-ranked SEC team not in the New Year's Six automatically goes to the Citrus Bowl. So if Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, Missouri all end up in playoff New Year's Six, not likely, but not impossible, LSU would then go to the Citrus Bowl. If one of those teams, likely Ole Miss, falls to the Citrus Bowl, then all of the other bowls, that sort of, group of bowl games, the network and the league get together and place teams. It's no longer a pecking order where like the Gator goes next or ReliaQuest, then Gator, then Music City. It doesn't work like that anymore. They sit down in a room and say, okay, what's the best matchups that we can create based on like who wants to go where against what matchup that would draw the best ticket sales, TV ratings. So whereas we used to look at bowl games in a pecking order, it's just not like that anymore. Where like the perception is Gator or ReliaQuest is better than Texas Bowl. That's just not how it works anymore. It's more about creating the best, most appealing matchup. And LSU Notre Dame would certainly draw a lot of intrigue. Now, if you're LSU and You end up playing Notre Dame in the ReliaQuest Bowl, and you lose that game. That's embarrassing, and it sucks. If you win that game, I'm not sure that it matters a lick. Either way. I would love to see the 10 wins and all that, but the reality is, too, you're probably going to see 2 backup quarterbacks in that game. Now, I'm not pushing Jayden Daniels out the door. If Jayden Daniels wants to play in the bowl game, that would be awesome. I'd love the opportunity to watch Jayden Daniels rep LSU and put on the purple and gold one more time and try to go win a bowl game and get to 10 wins. That would be awesome. I also wouldn't fault him one bit if he decided to leave and go start getting ready for the combine. Remember, I was asked this question over the weekend: could Jayden Daniels increase his draft stock if he played the bowl game? No. Not one bit. Not one iota. Zero. Jayden Daniels has put out enough film that NFL teams know what he is. There is nothing that Jayden Daniels could do in a bowl game that would improve his draft stock. The only thing that could potentially happen is, knock on wood, if he got hurt, it could lower his draft stock. So there's no benefit career-wise to him playing. It's just, do you want to go run out there and rep LSU one more time? And if you do, God bless. It's his decision. Let him make the decision he wants. But if he would rather take the month of December and use that to get ready for Senior Bowl Combine as opposed to getting ready for a bowl game against an opponent, then I don't blame him at all. Because where Jayden Daniels has the potential to go from first-round pick to, could you be the third quarterback taken? Could you bump your way into the top 10? Is if he goes to the Combine, he goes to the Senior Bowl, he aces Senior Bowl practices, nails the interviews, convinces a team this is an alpha that we want to make the face of our organization, then he can end up making himself tens of millions of dollars by going from, all right, does he bump into round 1? Is he a day 2 guy? Is he bumping around 1 to, all right, he's a top 10 guy. After Caleb Williams, Drake May, he's next. That's what's on the line for him. Jayden Daniels was asked after the Texas A&M game whether or not he plans to play in the bowl.
I got to make some decisions. Obviously, I'm going to go sit down, talk to my family, kind of just embrace this moment of, my last regular season game. We'll just go from there.
Non-committal, and I don't blame him. There's no reason for him to say anything in that moment after the game anyway. He's still got the Heisman. He'll be in New York for the Heisman presentation a week from Saturday either way. So he doesn't have to make that decision now. We don't know what game LSU is going to be playing in. Also of consequence is Malik Nabers' decision. Now, this is interesting for several reasons. Malik Nabers on Saturday against Texas A&M set the LSU career receptions record. He broke the record held for a long time by Wendell Davis. And he's 23 yards short of the career receiving yards record held by Josh Reed. And if you saw, it was pretty emotional. People were asking what was wrong with Kyron Lacey on the bench. When Malik had the long catch and run that got negated by the bogus holding penalty on Kyron Lacey, on that run, Malik Nabers would have set the LSU career receiving yards record. But part of that catch and run got negated by penalty. And so he didn't set the record on Saturday, and he's 23 yards. He's 23 yards away.
I told it at 21 earlier, 3,001, and he's at 2980.
So 21. I'll trust your math. So 21 yards away from Josh Reed's record. So if you're Malik Nabers, playing in the bowl game gives you an opportunity to break a very significant, to be in a program that has produced amazing wide receivers. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Josh Reed, Michael Clayton, just in the relatively short last 20 years. You have the opportunity to stand above all of them and have done it in just 3 seasons. It's incredible. It's an incredible opportunity. And Malik Nabers was asked if he's going to play in the bowl game.
Like I said, I really want to play. It's a decision I might have to look into, to play. But like I said, a lot of people don't come across this record to break. So, being the competitor that I am, being the dog that I am, I want to set myself in history. I want to leave my name at the #1 spot as much times as I can.
I love it. And I respect it, and I think everybody respects it. But that's another guy that also, if he decided, we talked about Mel Kiper's big board last week. He's got Malik Nabers as the number 9 overall player in this draft. Malik Nabers, is going to instantly on draft day going to be worth tens of millions of dollars. So if he wanted to leave, you could hardly fault him. But I'm going to repeat something here that I know I talked about with Kayshawn. And before you roll your eyes, I want you to really hear this. One of the reasons Kayshawn Boutte, who could have left twice, decided to come back to LSU in 21 and then again in 22 was, for him, a guy from the Lafayette area. It mattered to him to be a Louisiana guy, to be mentioned in the same breath as Odell and Jarvis and Jefferson and Chase, those great Louisiana receivers. He wanted to be considered among them, and it mattered to him. And clearly, that's something that matters to Malik as well. And I know we talk about it all the time with recruiting. You hear me say it, but it's another illustration of it. The dirt matters when it comes to LSU. There are kids who are born in this state, who bleed purple and gold, who all they ever want is to put on that uniform and play in that stadium. And for Malik Nabers, a guy who stands to make tens of millions of dollars, it's not me speculating, he's telling you point blank. He wants to put himself number one in as many places as he can. And he wants to break that record. And that means something to him. So good on him for it. I think that's awesome. And I hope he does play in the bowl game. If he chooses not to, I completely understand it and respect it. But I'd love to see both those guys play. A lot of guys will have decisions to make here as we get closer to the bowl scenario and to the bowl game, whatever game LSU will be playing in. But listen, if it is Notre Dame and the ReliaQuest, I think there's a really good chance that Jayden Daniels isn't playing in that game. And similarly, a great chance Sam Hartman isn't playing in that game. So you could be talking about a potential LSU Notre Dame ReliaQuest Bowl with a couple of backup quarterbacks. But it would be a great opportunity to see Garrett Nussmeier go get some run before next year. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.